Michael, I feel like I woke up in a nightmare. And this can't be real, but it is.
You haven't seen anything yet. Nothing. You're a war correspondent. You know what it's like. I don't have to tell you. It's just getting started.
Hey, guess what? I'm back with, you want to know who? He is always in the Darien Gap. He is always in war zones and risking everything to get us the truth. It's Michael Yon. Michael Yon, a great researcher, a great friend, a great investigator. I know you enjoyed the first part of our interview last week. If you haven't heard it, I suggest you listen to it. It is phenomenal. And I'm excited to share that second part of that interview with you today. As you're listening to this, I'm in Mar-a-Lago. And I promise to bring you some fun stories when I get back. For today, I have Michael Yon for you, and I will get right back with him after this. Did you know that poor sleep can cause weight gain, mood issues, poor mental health, and lower productivity? Yes, it's the worst. Introducing Beam Dream. You'll not have to worry about that anymore. You know, we've been raving about Beam Dreams powder, their healthy hot cocoa for sleep. And today my listeners get a special discount on Beam Dreams powder, their best-selling healthy hot cocoa for sleep with no added sugar. Yes, now available in delicious flavors like sea salt caramel, cinnamon cocoa, and chocolate peanut butter. Better sleep has never tasted better. A recent clinical study revealed Dream helped 93% of users wake up feeling more refreshed, and 93% reported that Dream helped them get a more restful night's sleep. Find out why Forbes and the New York Times are all talking about Dream and why it's trusted by the world's top athletes and business professionals. If you want to try Beam's best-selling Dream powder, get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Sara Carter and use code Sara Carter at checkout. That's shop BEAM.com/Sara Carter and use code Sara Carter for up to 40% off. What NGOs are most active, like with recruiting the migrants that are heading towards the border, or is it the UN? And how are they facilitating the journey? How are they making it so that they can do this, Michael? Because, do they even know they're being used by our adversaries? Or do we have adversaries even within our own government? I mean, I just have to believe that something is happening here.
Well, talking with Americans, most Americans don't get it, right? Most Dutch that I talk with, as educated as the Dutch are, most of them don't understand what's happening to them. They don't get it. They don't realize that this isn't just they don't realize that these farms are not being taken because of nitrogen in the soil or carbon dioxide in Germany. Right? You cross the border between Netherlands and Germany. In Netherlands, it's about Stickstoff, which is nitrogen in Dutch and German. And then over and you cross the border to Germany, it's all about carbon dioxide. Right. So you can't make up this stuff. But it's interesting. In counterintelligence, there's something called mice, right? When you're recruiting agents or whatever, or somebody's trying to recruit you, always be careful for the mice. Money, ideology, coercion, ego, mousetrap, right? Right. Mousetrap, honey trap, ego, right? Coercion, right? And so the mouse traps work everywhere I go around the world. I see them like with the Indians down in Darien Gap. They're selling their jungle because they're making money off those trees. But as they sell that jungle off, and then Westerners come and go, oh, they're taking advantage of the Indians. I'm like, they are, because they're going to take all of their land. And some of the Indians get it. Some of the Imbra and Kuna totally get it. And so they fight inside of themselves, right? They're like, no, some of the Imbra want to give it up because they're making money on the trees. But when our trees are gone, they're just going to come take our land. Right. But they're making money. So it's the same thing in Netherlands, right? It's just this little mousetrap, the money or whatever, ideology for others, nitrogen, global, whatever. These different, the same cheeses work everywhere, right? And they do in space and time. When I was fishing, I remember I was like 9 or 10 years old with my uncle and my granddad, and we're catching fish. And I'm like, why do we keep catching fish from the same piece of water, like pulling them out of the water and eating them? Don't other fish tell each other? Mm-hmm. That was just a lesson from that point as a young boy. I see it in life. It's like, don't you tell each other that this is the same mousetrap.
That's a great point.
There you go.
That's a great point. I used to think that about animals all the time too when I was little. I wonder if we had the same mindset. I used to think that about deer, like people at hunting season, like, don't the deer realize like this time of the year,
the
like
bucks do.
the bucks started to figure,
hunted.
the bucks started to figure it out. But I mean, it's like
because they know they're hunted, but the does figure it out too when does are being hunted.
Right. But now we are somehow we've been, I don't know what the word is. We've been kept in a bubble, or we have been trained. We have allowed our children to be indoctrinated and trained to the point where they're not really seeing what is happening, to the point where they're being lambs led to the slaughter. And that's what scares me, that we are not seeing the potential for such harm. Let's say maybe that nothing would have ever happened, but the fact that we're not even acting on the possibility that it can happen is, to me, so dangerous. And I don't know if it's too late to wake people up to this, or if we still have a chance at surviving what could possibly be coming our way.
It's not possibly coming our way. It's overwhelming the United States at this point.
You're right.
That's why Mayor Adams is coming down here right now, right? From Eric Adams from New York, right? He's coming down to Darien right now.
Yeah, but even if he comes down to Darien, here you have a man who, Mayor Adams, I believe he's starting to see the light. I believe he understands it, because his constituents are like, we're not going to put up with this. We barely have enough money in New York for us. We're being overtaxed. We've got 10,000 people coming in every month, and we don't have any place to house them. But I also believe that Mayor Adams is one of those people that has been brainwashed. He's not pointing the finger necessarily at Biden, although I think it's shifting a little bit more that way. He's pointing the finger at everybody else. Governor Greg Abbott, Ron DeSantis.
I want to be crystal clear. If Adams was serious about Darien, he would call me before he calls anybody else. And everybody who knows anything about Darien knows that.
Right.
He has not called me. His office has not reached out. It's a photo op.
It is.
That's what's actually going on.
And what about the NGOs?
But they do recognize this is a route.
Well, this is a route, but
the NGOs, I mean, Sara, you're a war correspondent. The most dangerous things in the world are what? Cowards, do-gooders, and traitors.
Right.
I mean, and cowards are just traitors in waiting.
Right.
Cowards will always, that's why you got to purge cowards from your ranks. Do not let them around you. They're a disease. You've got to keep your arm's distance from cowards. Of course, you have to deal with them, but there's some people that just fall for every trap, any coercion. Oh, I don't want to do that. They'll be angry with me. You know what I mean? It's like they will sell you out
in a minute.
And the do-gooders. It's like Camp of the Saints is an incredible book that, it's hard to find in English, actually. It seems like it's been purged. It's written originally in French, I think in 1973. If you even say Camp of the Saints, they'll be like, oh, you're a racist. Of course, if they're accusing you of being a racist, just you're over the target. Keep dropping. Open Bombay doors, right? I mean, so read Camp of the Saints. It's like a mixture of Rape of the Mind, which is a great book from 1956 by Joost Meerlo, is a Dutch psychologist. It's like a combination of Rape of the Mind and applied weaponized migration, right?
Right.
I'm constantly seeing this, whether I'm in Morocco or Greece or Lithuania or Germany or Hungary or, Netherlands or here,
so
Texas.
Let's say this.
It's the same story. It's the same thing happening everywhere.
Let's say this.
Too.
They're using the do-gooders, right? And the do-gooders are allowing themselves to be used because they buy into this globalist idea that there should be no borders. We shouldn't have a sovereign nation. There should be a global UN should be in charge of pretty much everything, or some kind of global government. And that our borders, and anybody who believes in borders, is a racist. So, but they're also lining their pockets with it. So it's like a win-win for them. Not only does it serve their ideology, but it allows them to pocket money. Now it's weaponized migration.
They're making money.
So what about Catholic charities? What about Catholic charities? I'm Catholic. I know what's going on. I see it.
Catholic Charities is a massive child smuggler. Massive. And it's so many people have video. I have video. I have recent video down in near McAllen and over, and I've been down in Mexico looking at their places. Catholic Charities is poison.
And
they are evil. They are straight up evil. They're as evil as the devil himself. I mean, they're child trafficking, openly doing it. They are openly doing it. There's children at the Brownsville Supercenter, a former Walmart, being housed right now, and Catholic Charities is part of the conduit that gets them into that facility. They don't operate it, to my knowledge. They operate the feeders that put them there. You know that the crazy people who years ago were saying that they're going to use these super centers for camps and whatnot.
Right.
Well, it turns out they're not crazy. I was just down at the Brownsville super center, former Walmart super center, with Ann Vandersteel and others, and it's filled with children that they're imprisoned there. Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you that people
Texas,
were walking out. People were walking out of the hotels. Those families that I talked to inside San Diego County, you're exactly right. They were told by the NGOs there, if you walk out of this hotel, we will no longer help you. You have to stay right here and inside the Crowne Plaza. And if you
mousetrap, coercion, and money.
Right.
That was money and coercion.
Money and coercion. And they said, we don't want to be stuck in this room. And they said, well, if you leave, that's it. You'll lose your place to live. You'll lose your money. You'll lose anything, food we can give you. And they walked out. And then they were like, oh my gosh, we just walked out. And now we're walking down the street and we have no money. We have no place to live. And that's the reason why the crime is going up. People are dealing dope. I was in Chicago. They were selling dope, the Venezuelans, right out of their tent to the local gang members. And a gang member came over and was threatening one of the Venezuelans right in front of me at a police station in Chicago. I couldn't believe it. There was no cops there to do anything. I was just standing there watching the whole thing unfold. Women are being trafficked. Michael, I feel like I woke up in a nightmare. And this can't be real, but it is.
You haven't seen anything yet. Nothing. You're a war correspondent. You know what it's like. I don't have to tell you. It's just getting started. Anthony Rubin, by the way, from muckraker.com just did an expose. It came out maybe 48 hours ago. It's getting a lot of traction, or maybe 72 hours ago now. And he was down at some of these facilities housing the children. He was down at McAllen Airport in Texas, confronting people and that sort of thing. I've taken Anthony Rubin down here to Darien, by the way. He's a stud. I mean, I spent a couple of weeks with him down in the jungle, and then we went all the way from Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, San Diego. We were all along the border. And then he went back on his own, and he's done this expose on the child trafficking that's going on in Texas and other places. People haven't seen anything yet. They're recruiting these people into the military. You got and police forces that are not even U.S. citizens. It's just a matter of time until you have Haitian death squads with M16s and M4s and that sort of thing. I mean, in the military, wearing American uniforms, with American intelligence feeding them. We got different ecosystems of people coming in. We've got the deadly serious Chinese coming in, much more organized. We've got the Haitians coming in. I was down with Chuck Holton earlier this year in the Dominican Republic. We were on the Dominican Republic has built a fence, sort of like they call it the Trump wall, but it would keep out it'd keep the dogs out. But it's between Haiti and Dominican Republic, right? They expelled like 162,000 Haitians from what I've read, and from Dominican Republic back to the other side of the island, which, the Haitians have destroyed their side of the island. The Dominican side is much nicer. And of course, people accuse the Dominicans of being racist. I'm like, you can't even make up this stuff. So, I mean, but the point is everywhere I go, whether it's Colombia or Panama or Mexico or the United States, when the Haitians come in, it's trouble. And when the Chinese come in, they do their things. They're buying land next to our bases. They're going immediately to gun ranges, sometimes posting their videos on TikTok. And by the way, speaking of TikTok, Oscar Blue, I was told this morning, I called him, he didn't answer. He has a very busy, I had him down in Darien as well.
Yeah, he is always there.
He's a stud.
Yep.
He's super smart. He's super famous in Panama. He's like Lady Gaga here. You know what I mean? Except, a good Lady Gaga. I'm like, so when I have any problems here, I say mi amigo es Oscar Blue, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so and Oscar's like his name just opens doors here. But anyway, because everybody sees how hard he works and how smart he is. And Oscar, I was told this morning by a mutual friend of ours that Oscar had called him up this morning and said that Oscar had posted some video, I think about aliens crossing maybe the fence at Tijuana or something. And it got a huge amount of views, and TikTok just deplatformed him today. And he just called. So I called Oscar like, hey, I'll ask you. Maybe you can ask Oscar yourself.
I will give him a call. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I hope he'll come on and explain what happened, because he didn't return my call yet, or if he did, I haven't seen it. And I'm curious what happened, but he said he was deplatformed.
See, this is what's incredible.
And a lot of people, is
that they're trying.
Remember, TikTok is Chinese.
It is.
TikTok is Chinese. It's full blown Chinese. So he got deplatformed.
That's why I'm not
from
using
China
it.
for talking about. Yeah, but so when he's telling the truth about what's happening, boom, you're gone.
And that's what they do. And that's why we have to be so cautious about what platforms we're using and how they can manipulate them. Folks, we've all had a heartfelt reason to support our blood pressure. In fact, more than half of the U.S. population would benefit from blood pressure support. Paired with a healthy lifestyle, the antioxidants in Super Beets are clearly shown to be nearly 2 times more effective at promoting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. And I absolutely believe in taking care of your heart and living a long life for your family. I lost my mother. She was way too young. She had heart disease. And I know that if she would have lived a healthier lifestyle, and had, the focus that she needed when it came to her heart, and people were just different back then. They didn't think the same way we do nowadays. And they didn't have all these great supplements, right? That she would still be with me today. I really do believe that. So I have a busy schedule. It's hereditary. I want to do everything I can to support my health and my heart. And Super Beet Chews are a quick and convenient way to do something good for my heart. They taste great. They give me peace of mind about my health and overall wellness. Supporting healthy blood pressure comes with a bonus. Super Beets Heart Chews support healthy circulation. So you not only get blood pressure support, you also get productive, heart healthy energy without the crash. Double your potential with Super Beet Heart Chews. Get a free 30-day supply of Super Beet Heart Chews at 15% off your first order by going to getsuperbeets.com and using promo code Sara, S-A-R-A. That's getsuperbeets, BEETS.com. Promo code Sara. Hey folks, make sure you're following me here on Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You don't want to miss any of the great interviews here on the Sara Carter Show. Thank you so much. It really does make a difference. So the NGOs, which ones do you encounter most in the Darien Gap, and what services do you think they provide?
The worst is IOM or OIM, depending on your language, and I see them everywhere.
Explain OIM.
They are the weaponized migration arm of the UN, and the main funder is the United States. And they just installed an American woman as their leader. It was just on all over the media yesterday, right? And so they are the worst. Like if you go to Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam and go to Terminal 3, walk through the revolving doors, and they have a ticket booth there where they're funneling people to Quito and Bogota to go through the Darien Gap, right? I've been there, looked at it several times in Schiphol, right? And they do the same over in Istanbul. They do in different places. They are the ones who funnel everybody through. They're the ones who hand out the rape kits that I've talked about before, and they're the ones who hand out maps. I've got some of those maps. Published them numerous times, and those. So they are very well funded, and they are the invasion arm for the United States and Europe.
Wow, and funded by the United States for the most part.
Yep.
How far into Latin America do they operate?
Oh, the whole thing.
So OIM operates throughout Latin America, South America. They're global.
Africa, Europe. Yep.
So it's a global. How are they funded? We talked about that a little bit, but I'll say the question again.
As you go through an airport, look for a white bag or a blue bag. Sometimes it's a white bag with blue writing, IOM or OIM, depending on the language. And sometimes it's a blue bag with white writing, IOM or OIM. Watch, you see those bags in the airport all the time, people carrying them. Those are people that just came in, and they inside. If you ask them to stop, oh, can I? What do you have? They'll have like paperwork that they'll have some. Those are the ones who help them get the debit cards and that sort of thing. Get American money on, so they get, spending money to help invade the United States. And then once they get into the United States, the aliens get into the United States, they'll get $2,200 a month.
And this is so everybody understands the International Organization of Migration with the UN. And they are behind all of this. And like you were saying, Michael, they're funded by taxpayer dollars from the United States for the most part, but money's also pouring in from other governments throughout the world, or maybe the World Bank, donors. How does that work? Do you know?
It's mostly the U.S. Now you'll see the EU, you'll see the American flag in these camps down in Panama as an example. Not flying high, but on printed American flags with EU flags. Right. Right. You'll see them. I'll send some to you.
Okay, I'd love to.
I think I already have, actually. Yeah, and so the major funder for IOM is the United States openly. Like you'll see that. In fact, in the videos that were put out yesterday about the last 48 hours of the new leader of IOM, she specifically mentions the U.S. as the biggest funder.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Michael. You're a true hero. Thank you for your brave coverage and expertise. I can't wait to have you back on the show. Please make sure you're subscribed to the Sara Carter Show here on your favorite podcast app. I don't care if it's Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. It really helps. Follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official, on X at Sara Carter DC, and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless our nation. And God bless the great state of Texas. And you too, Michael Yon. Stay safe out there.